postseason conference play is right around the corner. The Cowgirls only have 3 regular season games remaining. The team travels up to Lawrence, Kansas to take on the Jayhawks this Sunday. Tip-off is at 2 p.m. on ESPN+. Two teams that have already wrapped up their regular season are Cowboy and Cowgirl track and field teams. The two teams will compete down in Lubbock tomorrow at the Big 12 Indoor Track and Field Championships. This is a 2-day event wrapping up Saturday evening. Both OSU teams have had historic indoor seasons so far. Be on the lookout for the men's distance medley relay, who's coming off of breaking an unofficial world record last weekend, and the women's DMR, who shattered the OSU school record at the same meet. Don't forget, Cowgirl Taylor Rowe is the reigning Big 12 indoor champ in the mile. Can she defend her title? Follow Run4OK State on Twitter for updates throughout the event. Moving on to the Diamond. Cowgirl softball will be back in action tomorrow morning bright and early. The team is in New Mexico this weekend, competing in the Troy Cox Classic. OSU takes on New Mexico with a first pitch scheduled for 10 a.m. Central Time. There's no rest for the weary, as the Cowgirls will face off against the Nebraska Cornhuskers shortly after that concludes. That first pitch is scheduled at 12:30 Central Time. As a reminder, OSU is 8-1 on the young season, coming off of a sweep in the Tax Act Clearwater Invitational last weekend. While it is very early on in the season, the Cowgirls are definitely establishing themselves as a force to be reckoned with. The team came in at number 4 this week in both major D1 softball polls. Staying on the Diamond, 15th ranked Cowboy Baseball announced an hour earlier today that their weekend schedule has changed. Due to forecasted cold temperatures tomorrow, OSU will now open its weekend series against Loyola Marymount Saturday with a doubleheader. The first pitch will take place at 1 p.m. with the second game to follow 1 hour after the conclusion of the first. The Sunday game is still set for 1 p.m. first pitch. Be sure to come out to beautiful O'Brate Stadium this weekend and support the team. Now finally, after nearly 2 months on the road, Cowgirl Tennis is back home tomorrow. The team takes on Wichita State at 5 p.m. in the Greenwood Tennis Center. The 4-3 Cowgirls have won their last 2 duels, shutting out both Louisiana Tech and Oral Roberts. Some key Cowgirls to keep an eye on this weekend are Raquel Gonzalez, Ayumi Miyamoto, and Sofia Rojas. Gonzalez and Miyamoto have been powerful both in doubles and singles, and Rojas' fall season success has carried over into this spring. OSU has another home meet against South Carolina on Saturday, so be sure to come out to the Greenwood Tennis Center tomorrow at 5 and Saturday at 3 to support the team. Plus, as always, grab a free slice of pizza between doubles and singles action. Welcome back to the Daily O. I'm Alex Dusky. Let's get right into sports. Last night, Cowgirl basketball was defeated in Morgantown as West Virginia won 71-67. The Cowgirls played tough. It was a back-and-forth game with 10 lead changes and 6 ties throughout. Lexi Keys was the leading scorer for the Cowgirls with 13 points, and the Argo Zone had 11 points off of the bench. OSU outshot West Virginia in all categories, but lost the turnover battle 11-16. Up next, it's Bedlam. The Cowgirls will close out the regular season with a home game against OU Saturday. That tip-off is set for 2 p.m. It is a very busy weekend for OSU sports. By this time tomorrow, 5 teams will have already started action. Let's start off with Cowgirl Equestrian. The team is coming off of a huge upset win over number 2 TCU last weekend. OSU moved up 2 spots to number 5 in the NCEA ranks earlier this week following that victory. The Cowgirls have 2 meets in California this weekend, starting off with number 10 UC Davis tomorrow at noon. Then on Saturday, the team takes on Big 12 rival and 9th-ranked Fresno State starting at 1. It was announced yesterday that Sydney North was named the Big 12 Fences Rider of the Month for February. This was the first time in her career that she has earned that award. Now, these are the last 2 road meets for the Cowgirls. They will have 1 more home meet, but before we know it, it'll be time for OSU to defend both their Big 12 and NCEA championship titles. The equestrian team aren't the only Cowgirls in California this weekend. Cowgirl Tennis has 2 West Coast matches as well. Tomorrow, the team takes on UC Santa Barbara at 3 p.m. Central Time. The Cowgirls will then have a day off before facing off against number 9 Pepperdine on Sunday. That match is set to start at 3 p.m. as well. Now, remember last week how I told you to watch out for Ayumi Miyamoto? After having some big wins last weekend, she was named the Big 12 Player of the Week. She went 4-0 in doubles and 3-0 in singles action last weekend. I'm not surprised, of course, but it's always nice to see some OSU stars getting conference recognition. Moving on to the Diamond, Cowgirl softball opens up an 8-game homestand tomorrow, starting off with a game against Maine. The first pitch is set for 2:30 at Cowgirl Stadium. What better way to come back home after 2 tournament sweeps than with a doubleheader? After the game against Maine ends, the 3rd-ranked Cowgirls will take on the 24th-ranked Missouri. That first pitch is estimated to take place around 5. There's 3 other games to preview this weekend, but I'll let Connor tell you all about those matchups in tomorrow's Daily O. Now, if you thought an 8-game homestand was impressive, you're in for a treat. Cowboy baseball opens up a 10-game schedule at O'Brate Stadium starting tomorrow. Cowboys are coming off of a close win over Missouri State on Tuesday. OSU will take on Austin Peay tomorrow with a first pitch at 4 p.m. What better way to spend your Friday evening than watching Cowboy baseball? Now finally, after nearly a month of road games, Cowboy tennis is back in action at home this weekend. At this time tomorrow, they'll be competing against Wichita State. That matchup starts at 5, but obviously I know you will all wait until the Daily O is over before heading to the Greenwood Tennis Center to support the Cowboys. OSU will take on SMU on Sunday, also at home, and that is scheduled to start at 1. Obviously, there is a lot of OSU sports going on. I can confidently say that this is my favorite time of the year. There's always some sort of action to catch around campus. That's all the time we have for sports, unfortunately. I'm Alex Dusky, but don't go away. Dylan and Peyton will have all the info on today's special holiday and some cool new merch, a Stillwater favorite, put on sale right after this. Hey Flock Nation, I'm Alex Dusky, and it is time to catch up at Carolina Bank Field. So I'm joined by none other than Francesco Barbieri, aka Franco, and so we're starting out here at the Budweiser Lagoon, and we're going to walk the concourse and kind of get to know Franco more. Okay, Franco, you ready?
I'm ready to go.
All right, well, it wouldn't be an interview with Franco if we don't talk about his first home appearance as a Florence Flamingo. It was the very first home game here at Carolina Bank Field, and Franco hits a grand slam. What were you feeling in that moment?
Oh man, the energy from the crowd was amazing, and you know, when you have people cheering for you and just putting yourselves in special moments, you try to do special things, and that was a special thing that I was able to do.
Was that your first grand slam in your career, or had you hit one before?
No, that's my first ever grand slam. The first time I've ever been in that opportunity, I think, as well. Maybe not, but that was my first grand slam.
So it's Franco's first grand slam, the first grand slam here at Carolina Bank, and the first grand slam in Florence Flamingo's history. So kind of pat yourself on the back there, right?
Yep, for sure.
So, Franco, you go to Ave Maria University, but you're born and raised in Toronto. So from Toronto down to Florida, and this was your first time in South Carolina, right?
Yep, it's my first time.
So what's your experience been like here in Florence and the state of South Carolina as a whole?
This is the first time I've ever been in the South, and I mean, the people are so welcoming, and the food is amazing, and I'm just loving everything so far.
Speaking of Ave Maria, you had 3 fellow teammates from Ave Maria come up and be with the Flamingos. What kind of dynamic has that added to the team here?
I mean, we had David and Matt come in earlier in the season along with myself and Ryan, and it was just nice to have that dynamic right away, like you said, and having that bond and that friendship kind of rubbed off onto everybody else, and I think that was a big thing for our chemistry.
Talking a little bit more about Ave Maria, what is your major, like what do you do at school, and what are your plans for after baseball?
Hopefully baseball goes on for a while, but if whenever that ends, I'm studying exercise science right now, so I'll be going into physical therapy probably next year or so, whenever that is, so I'll be looking at physical therapy schools. Well,
we hope, maybe you'll come back and be the trainer for the Flamingos one day.
Hopefully I'll be playing for some bigger teams too.
That's true, of course. So, you're not always just playing baseball, right? It's like today's an off day, so that's why we're out here. What do you do on off days here this summer or when you're not studying at school or playing ball?
In general, I just like to chill out. We'll usually go and lift or get some mobility work in. A lot of guys will like to do yoga, just stuff to keep, your body fresh and ready for the next day.
So are you pretty good at yoga? Would you say you're like a yogi master?
No, I'm not good at yoga. I'm definitely not good. I'm not flexible at all, but...
What do you like to do for fun, like besides training and stretching?
I'm a big food guy, so I love going to different restaurants, kind of like to think of myself as like a food connoisseur. And then on top of that, I'll usually play video games with some of my buddies.
Have you had any really good restaurants here in Florence yet?
So far, I've been to Stefano's, and the owners were great, everybody was great, and the food was amazing.
Well, good. I think we should go check that out. I haven't been there yet. So let's talk more about baseball. You're from Toronto. Would you consider yourself a Blue Jays fan?
110%.
Who is your favorite MLB player?
Currently, my favorite player would probably be Fernando Tatis Jr. He just brings the flair day in and day out, and I love that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good players on the Blue Jays for sure. Have you ever been to a Blue Jays game?
Oh, I've been to plenty.
What's like your favorite game memory?
My favorite memory, I went to... that's a tough one. The best one would probably be David Price's debut as a Blue Jay. We just traded for him, and I bought tickets months in advance, and he just so happened to start on that day, and it was family day back home. Everybody got Russell Martin bobbleheads, and it was just a good time.
Well, sounds like a great time. Yeah, kind of sounds like some of the great fan experiences we've had at Carolina Bank. What have been some of your favorite experiences with the Flamingos fan base so far?
Just getting to know the people from Florence. I think, like you said, this is a brand new stadium, and the energy around it has been amazing. And getting to see the people from all ages. You got little kids, you got older adults, and the elderly too, and they're just welcoming you, and it's amazing to see.
You know, I love seeing you interact with the fans when they come up to the gates. You know, you always give them a nice fist bump. What's it like knowing that you're kind of like some of these young T-ball guys might be looking up to?
I mean, we talk about it all the time, and you never know the impact that you have on people. And, you know, if you can just come in day out and just do one good thing a day, that goes a long way.
For sure. I know the guys love to get your autographs. You know, they're always like, "Number one, can we get your autograph?" But, you know, so they love you. And, you know, we all love you here too.
Thank you.
I guess a couple more questions would be, you know, you started playing baseball kind of late at 13. I'm going to ask you a two-parted question. What is your favorite baseball memory, and what's your most embarrassing or funny baseball memory?
Oof, that's a tough one. That's a very tough one. My favorite baseball memory would probably be winning my first ever tournament with my boys from back home with the Mississauga North Tigers. That was a fun time. We always used to finish second and could never get it done, and then that one time we got it done. That was really fun. And then for the most embarrassing moment, that's a tough one. It would probably be, I think it was this past year at Ave. I was rounding first, and I tripped. First and just ate it a little, so that was in front of everybody too. So that's probably the most embarrassing.
Did you make it to first?
Oh yeah, no, it was a double. It was a double, but I tripped going first at the beginning.
Well, at least you made it, you know, the kind of redemption there.
Yep.
Sure. I guess my last question as we're here at KJ's Party Perch is, you know, we mentioned at the start of the season, you're here with the inaugural season for the Flamingos, playing at a brand new stadium. What does just this experience in the summer mean to you?
It's an experience that not many people get to enjoy and get to endure, and I'm all for it. I want to be here in Florence, and I love representing the community.
Well, I know the community has really enjoyed you being here, so Franco, thanks for joining me today and for catching up at Carolina Bank. Arguably one of the most important parts of the soccer team is the goalkeeper. In order to have success in the net, one must have automatic reflexes. Lucky for the Cowgirls, Jordan Nantz is one of the best. Students want to give money both for a good cause and to see some high-status names in the dunk tank, like Gundy or Boynton. No one wants to see a fellow student participate. Unfortunately, no dunk tanks were available today, but I can't let the coaches have all the fun. Thanks to the NIL, there are more opportunities for fans and athletes to interact. After a Cowboy win, you can come here to Coney Island and leave with a full stomach and an autograph from your favorite Cowboy athlete.